look. There have been horses of superior Empire Makers, another horse. You know, the foot injury, it can take nothing away from Funny Cide, especially the way he ran in the Preakness. But Empire Maker's foot was an issue. I think it took away. He probably would have won that Derby. The Preakness, there may be a bit of a question mark. Given the way Funny Cide ran, he ran lights out in that race. And Empire Maker would have really have had to done something. And he could have done that. I really believe he had a chance to be a Triple Crown horse. But we all know what he did in the Belmont Stakes. And like I said, that was a top-end performance. And today, that was the question mark. Do we have a Empire Maker, Victory Gallop, Touch Gold kind of threat in this Belmont Stakes? So, yes, you need to have a little bit of luck to not have that kind of quality, even with the quality in this 2018 class we have. Anybody who's wise enough to know, and I'm certainly not the smartest person on the face of the earth, but I'm no dummy when it comes to knowing that Justify is not only a legitimate Triple Crown winner, but understand he had some things. You need a little bit of luck. And even with the competition this year that I think was better than American Pharaohs, the competition between both classes, 2015 and 2018, pale. For those who may find it hard to swallow, but understand, you go back and you look, they pale in comparison to other classes where perhaps there was a Triple Crown on the line, or perhaps there wasn't. And we've seen Triple Crowns on the line where there wasn't as much quality as what we've seen this year, or we've seen a little more quality in years like with Silver Charm. And even though the quality wasn't as deep in terms of going 5 or 6 deep in 98, between Victory Gallop and Real Quiet, that was high quality. And of course, you throw in Coronado's Quest after the Triple Crown. No telling what he would have done had he competed in those races. But the point is that, again, you know, the fact that we are not seeing horses in competition at that level is certainly a key to winning the Triple Crown. And that's what makes a Triple Crown. That's what's so interesting about it, because we've seen horses that had less competition than Justify had. We've seen horses that had that, like Big Brown and Smarty Jones, and couldn't win. Funny Cide, you know, maybe didn't collectively have a ton of competitors, but he had Empire Maker, and we all know how good Empire Maker was. He was the one that was supposed to be going for the Triple Crown, and he lied in wait in the bushes, skipping the Preakness, knowing or feeling that at 1.5 miles we're going to get this horse, and that's what happened. And when you have that kind of threat, because Empire Maker was probably a horse, if he had had luck go his way, could have been running for the Triple Crown. But it may have worked in the reverse, going for the Triple Crown. You know, maybe there would have been someone else who would have been a threat, you know, but really, you know, maybe Funny Cide is the horse that would have skipped the Preakness and come into the Belmont. You never know. But once it rained, one thing about it, Funny Cide couldn't handle an off track. So that's where still Empire Maker would have had an advantage, if you believe that if he had run in the Preakness, it wouldn't have taken any more out of him than him skipping that middle jewel. But the point is, again, let me reinforce and inform those who think they know everything about racing and those who question the legitimacy of the things that I'm presenting to you, or the things that I notice, and making the assessment that I don't know anything of what I'm talking about. What I say has no merit. Understand that, again, you need to have a bit of separation in the talent level. And I didn't believe this year the separation was there for a horse to run off by open lengths. And it happened. Justify didn't just run off and win by 10 lengths. The horses this year are too good. But still, at the end of the day, he had enough of ability to separate himself just enough to win this Triple Crown, which underscores that the quality this year is very good. But still, it is still not of the quality, again, where there was a Victory Gallop or a Touch Gold. And today that was the question. Once again, do we have a horse that has that explosion? And we did not see that today, although Gronkowski ran very well. He showed a little bit of that. But, you know, again, when you go into a Triple Crown series and you don't see someone like that in your rear view mirror, it makes the Triple Crown just a little easier, albeit how hard it is, you know, albeit with the difficulty. It still makes it easier. You still have to have the horse, though, that has the run and the ability to maximize that gap. You know, and Big Brown didn't do it. Smarty Jones had a 3-length lead. It looked like he was going to do it, and he fell apart. And Funny Cide just was not able. You know, again, there was never a gap between him and Empire Maker. There was probably the contention most people believe. Jerry Bailey rode that horse, by the way, our colleague at NBC, that Empire Maker was the more talented horse, and it showed in the Belmont at least. So that was where, Funny Cide met his Waterloo in the Belmont Stakes, in addition to the fact he couldn't handle the track. Again, when that's what made Affirm's Triple Crown so special. He had a rival like Alydar that was legit, but it was also advantageous to Affirm. Steve Coffin knew that was the threat. That's another variable. Even as great as Alydar was, unfortunately, there wasn't someone else that could jump up there like a Believe It. He tried in the Kentucky Derby, but after what happened in the Preakness, Believe It was gone. So that third horse that could sit in the catbird seat off those two horses running in a speed duel like that. Granted, Affirm's got his hands full with a horse of Alydar's caliber, but the fact there wasn't a third horse. So even though people, I believe, and I think it's pretty clear, that there have been some drops in talent over the years, there is still more depth. Whether you think that the horse at the top end has less talent or not, the gap between Citation and the second best horse, and having situations like that, has decreased over the years. So whether you think the breed has weakened or not, the parity, even if you don't think there's a top end superstar, the level, even though the levels can vary, the level of competitive horses that can win a Triple Crown race, there are more horses that have a chance to win a Triple Crown race than probably at any time. So that underscores any of the breeders who have tried to dispel the notion that the breed has become suddenly so weakened that we can't get Triple Crown winners. I just think that, there's a little credence to that, but to be honest with you, there's just more strategies being employed, or the strategies, there are more horses that can carry out the strategy, and there could be the argument that the horses that have been shooting for the Triple Crown, or the horses that are the top 3-year-olds, have not been as good as Seattle Slew or Affirm of those horses. But again, there have been years where that argument has been a little bit less. It has been, what would be the way? It's been stifled, or, there's been a little bit of pushback from that. So I'm well aware, cognizant and aware that Justify's Triple Crown, for those who don't think he's as good as American Pharaoh, let me tell you something. Let's make it transparently clear that both of these horses, in any other year, if you pick the right year, they probably don't even have an opportunity to win the Triple Crown. You go, running into the likes of a horse, as I reiterated before, like a Street Sense, like a Silver Charm. You put those horses mixed together, and Justify and American Pharaoh are going to have some problems. You put even some of the horses that did win the Derby and Preakness, you put a Big Brown or Smarty Jones up against Silver Charm, they're going to have a problem. You put those two horses against Street Sense and Curlin, you got issues in terms of being able to get to the winner's circle. It is going to be difficult, if not more impossible and improbable, to do it. So again, you look at the years where horses are born, and I think too many people have romanced American Pharaoh's situation to where some people believe he did beat Affirmed and Alydar, and that's just not true. No question, you have to have a superior horse to be able to sustain that high level through 3 races. That's the key. But it's a tremendous key, if not as equally important, that you do not have a horse that has the ammunition and the horsepower to stop you from winning a Triple Crown race, and that's even if you run a triple-digit figure. That's the key. Silver Charm, if anybody thinks in this world that American Pharaoh is vastly superior to Silver Charm, from a time standpoint in the Belmont, you could make that argument. But overall, tell you what, you could put a horse like Silver Charm who's going to look you in the eye the way he did so many times, you're going to have a hard time dealing. You're going to have a hard time having, positive dealings with a horse like that. So, and make no mistake, if it weren't for Touch Gold, he would have won the Triple Crown. And there's no doubt in my mind that no one can definitively, there's just, you have to look at things for what it is, square in the eyes. Again, he did not have that separation. For anyone who thinks he was not a great horse because he didn't win that Triple Crown, you just got to give Touch Gold a lot of credit. He was a fantastic horse, the same way that Curlin cut off Street Sense chance in the Preakness. Luckily, Silver Charm was able to get through the Preakness to have the opportunity in the Belmont, because those horses were tough, and you knew they were tough. So, again, you can run that triple figure and still not, win the Belmont Stakes. So I think the perspective needs to be cleared up on what greatness really is, and at the same time not diminish the fact for those who want to split ends and say, well, Justify is not as good and all this, that, and the other. Trust me, when American Pharaoh broke through, he did it with authority in the Belmont. but by no means did he beat any superstars that year. And even though he's a star in his own right, he's always going to be known, always have the Triple Crown mantle next to his name. Understand that that horse was, no better in many respects to a lot of the horses that I aforementioned. Now, to say that he couldn't beat those horses would be maybe pushing it a little bit, but you can bet your bottom dollar that when you look at the analytics, the speed figures, the way these horses run, a lot of these horses, that have made history or come close to making history would have no chance, have very little chance. Now, I mean, just based on the Kentucky Derby, American Pharaoh is just, way back there. Based on the way he ran that day, you come unprepared running against a horse, as I said, of the caliber of horses I mentioned, you're not getting a sniff of any of those Triple Crown race trophies. None of it. So